Good news, my brothers. Crime is down. That's what the New York Times tells us. Urban crime is down. Why are so many people buying guns? Why are we seeing so many stories like this one? Listen to this one carefully.
It's fake. It's fake. Oh, well. I just read it. Stop. Get up. All right. Up. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Call 911. I shot. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, what? Put your hands behind your back. That was a flying fuck. Oh, what?
Did you hear that little exchange in there? The guy's on the ground with a bullet in him. You're going, hey, man, my guns are fake. My guns are fake. The other guy goes, mine's not. Oh, well. Yo, I'm not supposed to laugh at this. I know that. I'm laughing because I think it's time we start giving these idiots who go around robbing people the respect they deserve. That is zero. Yes, we are going to let one act define you. For a bunch of reasons, because chances are that's not the only time you've ever gone into a store and robbed somebody. What about this story out of Galveston, Texas? First time I saw it, I thought, I guess we got to put this story into the white people do it too file, because the first 3 times I saw this story, I thought this was a bunch of white people doing a home invasion on this big bad white girl.
Robbers kicked their way inside a Galveston home, but they were not expecting what happened after that. The homeowner fought back, eventually chasing the thieves right out the front door. It happened on Galveston Island off Avenue M near 34th Street. Our Keith Garvin is joining us live with more on the woman who refused to become a victim. Keith, quite the story tonight.
Oh, quite the story, and some really amazing video as well, Bill. This young woman says when she was faced with danger, her fight or flight reflex kicked in. She decided to stand her ground.
Do I need to run or do I need to fight? And my decision was to fight.
And fight she did when 2 armed robbers broke into her home. That is Kaylee Micah bursting out of her front door, chasing away one of the bad guys with a belt. Yes, she literally whipped one of the crooks out of her home.
Hit him in the face a couple times with this part, which I'm sure hurt because I wasn't swinging lightly.
But let's rewind and start from the beginning. Surveillance video shows one of the robbers breaking through the front door of Micah's Galveston home around 5:30 Thursday evening. He's followed by his thieving companion. The commotion awakened Micah, who over the past few days had been fighting the flu.
The bigger guy had brought my boyfriend to the back room and had the gun to him, looking through all the stuff in the back room. And I only saw the little man running towards my door.
At the same time, Micah's roommates were returning home. They walk in and immediately are met by one of the robbers, desperately running for his life as Micah chases him with the belt. The other robber, with a weapon in hand, eventually walks out with what appears to be a backpack. Micah's boyfriend chases one of the crooks down the street in his car.
He said it did hit him one time with the car, but then he got back up and ran away and jumped on some sidewalks and stuff, so we didn't want to get too crazy.
The 2 armed thieves did get away, but not before one of them encountered a young woman who decided to take a stand and delivered likely one of the worst and most embarrassing whippings in his life.
They got some money, they got some shoes. They didn't get too much, though, because I don't think they were expecting us to fight back.
And Micah says she hit the one thief in the face with a belt buckle several times, so he may have some bruises or scrapes on his face. If you recognize either one of those thieves, you were asked to call the Galveston Police Department. And we also want to add that law enforcement experts say that if you ever become the victim of an armed robbery, it is usually best to cooperate with the thieves.
No, the white people you see in that video are, of course, the people who live there and their friends. If you look, you have to look really carefully towards the end of the video. Then you see 2 of the fellas come running out. Of course, Mr. Keith Garvin, the reporter for KPRC2 down in Galveston, he wants us to know that experts advise us under a robbery, we should cooperate with our robbers. Yes, that's what we should do. Let's talk about that more in a minute. In the meantime, let's head on out to Philadelphia. Same kind of story.
But we begin with the latest on a shooting investigation in Philadelphia's West Oak Lane section. That's where a robber tried to hold up the wrong victim overnight and ended up in the hospital. We turn out to Action News reporter Vern Odom, who's live at the scene with the very latest. Vernon.
Good evening, Rick. That attempted robbery suspect has been released from Einstein Medical Center just a few moments ago after being treated for his wrist wound. He faces now time in the city jail as he awaits to be bound over. He's facing charges including attempted robbery and weapons violations. His target, in the meantime, is talking exclusively to Action News.
I look over my shoulder, the guy has a gun pointed at me.
Rakeem Kelly was headed home from buying a soda around 12:30 this morning. While talking to an old friend, a hooded holdup man appeared and put a gun to the back of his head. At that point, Kelly, a security guard licensed to carry, took matters into his own hands.
I just remember ducking behind the car and looking through the window to find him. But he was still there. I fired 2 shots first, then he tried to take off running. I fired 1 more and then he ended up dropping the gun. And he ran off and I just went and secured the weapon.
The suspect was hit in the wrist, police say. He was arrested moments later at this nearby fast food restaurant. Police identify the suspect as 22-year-old Osiris Lester from West Philadelphia, facing multiple charges. Police say he has a long rap sheet.
I was shooting just to defend myself. So usually I can't really tell you where he's going to get hit, but just to shoot to defend myself. And once he dropped the weapon, I felt a little more secure.
Over in Chicago, Shaquille Gales, young black man, well, he needed a little extra money. Needed some money for schools and books and clothes and college and medical school and whatever people need money for when they pull a gun out on the guy, on a 58-year-old dude in the Austin neighborhood of Chicago. Hey, Shaquille, anybody ever tell you sometimes these 58-year-old dudes have guns and they fight back? Yeah, that's what happened here.
A home invasion on the west side turns deadly after the would-be victim shoots the suspect. It happened just before 6 this evening in South Austin. A 58-year-old man told police that an armed man in his home tried to rob him. The would-be victim has a concealed carry license. He opened fire, shooting the 23-year-old suspect in the back of the head. The suspect was taken to West Suburban Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Police say he was a documented gang member.
Sometimes we run pictures of the victims' Facebook pages so we can really see what kind of person they are, what kind of person the reporters and public officials are trying to go talk to us in terms of denial, deceit, and delusion. Why don't we flip that script here? Why don't we look at Shaquille's Facebook pictures? Why don't we take a look, lots and lots of little glimpses into the life of somebody who was into guns, drugs, money, bitches. Now, he doesn't look like an unbelievable gangster here. If you look closely, you'll see some pot, you'll see some guns, you'll see some alcohol, you'll see some of the life. But you also see a guy that's trying to present himself as trying to wear the polo shirts. He's going to Miami Beach. He's wearing the yellow things down on Miami Beach. He wants to be in the in crowd. He thought he could take a shortcut to being in the in crowd. That didn't work out too well, did it, Shaquille? Let's talk about that reporter in Galveston who said that, the experts say in a robbery we should just cooperate with the robber. Experts say in a life and death situation you should always put your life in the hands of a person who doesn't give a damn if you live or die. And might even get a kick out of the fact that you are going to die or get hurt really badly. Yes, that's what the experts say. Look, if somebody's holding a gun in your face, okay, don't do anything stupid. And I'm not trying to infringe on all the territory from Big Boy. I won't call him Fat Boy anymore, okay? I'll call him Big Boy John. Big Boy John over at Active Self-Deception. We're not going to infringe on his territory, but we have to know this. I mean, it reminds me of when I used to ride a motorcycle around the country. You know, I've put 30,000 miles on a motorcycle in my life, including like 15 one summer. Went all over Mexico, all over the country. Anyway, I was talking to a real motorcycle rider, a guy who knew how to take his bike, and I was telling him I was developing some expertise in fixing my bike at the side of the road. He said, no, that's not the expertise. The expertise is making sure the bike never breaks down in the first place. He was 100% correct. Same way with this gun scenario that this guy's talking about in Galveston. I mean, if you ever find yourself in a situation where somebody's got a gun in your face, you have to sit there and think to yourself, man, how did I ever let myself get into that situation? Was I listening to Big Boy John at Active Self-Deception when he said there is no crime, has no color, Colin? Crime has no color. So you just go down to the hood. Hey, if you want a little barbecue, walk on down to the hood, Colin. You'll be fine. Tell him Big Boy John sent you. And so again, we don't do the self-defense thing here. I think I'll stay in my lane. Good Lord, if some of these videos do not convince you to get a gun, use a gun, learn how to use a gun, keep it on, get the permits, keep it in your house, make it a part of your life. Well, I don't know what will convince you. Are you listening to the New York Times? New York Times is happy to tell you urban crime is down. Or are you listening to city officials in Baltimore, Cleveland, Philadelphia? Lots of other smaller cities, Wilmington, Camden, Trenton. They look at hundreds of other cities, Pittsburgh. They look into the camera and say, yeah, crime is out of control in our town. And you're going to leave your life, you're going to leave your family's life into the hands of a person who's part of some out-of-control crime wave? But that doesn't make any sense to me. Let's wrap this up with a little story. I'm going to be very vague about this because I've been talking to this family for a while now, and they wanted me to do the story, but last night they got all scared, and I don't think I'm going to do the story. Hey, when I was a reporter in San Diego, I would not walk away from a story. If somebody halfway through a story, somebody said, oh, Colin, we don't want you to do that story anymore, I would say, I couldn't care less. That was then. This is now. Today, I'm a different kind of reporter. Anyway, so here's the vague story. A white guy gets killed by a group of black people. And all of a sudden, so the wife starts posting on her Facebook page, how she's determined to get justice, how she wants to find these people who killed her husband. I think they caught some of them. All of a sudden, the friends of the killers start going on the wife's Facebook page. I've seen the postings. I have the postings. I'm not going to show them to you right now. I will show them to you, I think, probably in the next month when the family calms down a little bit. Seen the postings are going. The black people are going to the wife's Facebook page to tell her, just to leave these incredible, obscene and vulgar comments and threats. F you, white bitch. And then a family member of one of the killers, she goes on her Facebook page, and alternately she's bragging about what a great view of the downtown that she has on her Facebook page, because she's the black person who went to college. That's how she describes herself. Then alternately, she's telling people on her Facebook page, when they came to her page, said, hey man, your brother's a bad dude. He just killed somebody. He's arrested for that. She's telling him she doesn't care about the pain that white family went through. She doesn't, I mean, these are her words. She doesn't care about the white family without a father now. Because she's all about black people. She's all about blood. She always will be. And so the lesson of these videos we saw here before is there's so much black on white hostility out there. This guy I'm talking about, who was killed, now his wife is now the victim of all these threats and obscenities. I don't think he had any idea of how much black on white hostility there was. The people using their guns in these videos knew. But when I look at a case of, we're going to do a bunch. We just did a bunch of black on white murders the other night. We're going to do a bunch more this week because they're piling up. Piling up. The case of a Good Samaritan down in, we'll put it up later. I think it was in Atlanta. Lady, last thing she posted on her Facebook page was, "Hey, I'm going to go out and help somebody who needs some help." They found her a couple days later in the trunk of her car. They arrested the people who she was supposed to be helping. Guy and his lovely lady. They killed her, put her in the trunk of a car. You know, if you're a single person, you don't have any family, go ahead. If you want to do something stupid like that, if you want to ignore this incredible level of threats and violence, black on white, that exists in the DNA in lots and lots of places in this country, go ahead. That's your choice. But good Lord, if you have a wife or a husband or kids or parents or grandparents and you expose them to that same kind of denial, deceit, and delusion and danger, you're a danger to yourself and to others. Oh yeah, by the way, if you say that to a cop, go to a cop and you point to somebody and go, "Oh yeah, that person over there is a danger to himself and to others," that's a 3-day ticket to the funny farm where you're going to come out all drugged up. But that's the level you're operating on. Lots of people come to this channel and they go, "Colin, I keep showing these videos to the other day somebody said, I showed the videos to my dad. All he could say is white people do it too." Man, these people, when I see people like that, my first reaction is, man, let's take away all the sharp objects from that person because they are a danger to themselves. This black on white hostility is now so mainstream, we can see it every day on television, CNN, MSNBC. Good Lord, there's Oprah out there telling us, white people have to die in order to get rid of racism. The Queen of America, the Queen of Black America. And people are still trying to tell us we don't need to be aware of what it's like in these stores and in these homes where people are using guns and other weapons to defend themselves. Okay, whatever you want to do. If that's your choice, you go ahead. But for my choice, whenever I see somebody defending themselves, defending their family against this unbelievable level of venom, hostility, hate, often holding a gun, that person's going to get 3 cheers from me. No matter how many black kids that makes angry.